The final artifact Koto handed over to us is our brand guidelines. We're going to apply it to our website, our app, and to all the rest of our brand assets.
The biggest challenge is how big ConvertKit is.
Our site has hundreds and hundreds of pages and blog posts and creator stories.
We've got to update absolutely everything from the fonts to the colors to images.
And now it's on us to not screw this up.
We're at 5 minutes and no showstoppers. So in just a couple minutes, I'm going to go ahead and update the site and then give the thumbs up.
It is actually, let me look, September 10th. So 21, 22 days, just less than 3 weeks away till we do the full cutover on October 1st. That's a little scary.
Today is the day that we've just shared our visual identity. We just published episode 3, which is where we shared behind the scenes of the process. Folks are seeing our logo for the first time, our brand color for the first time.
I'm not going to lie, I was pretty nervous to launch our new brand identity to the world. You just never know what people are going to say. And so how positively they responded to it, it just blew me away.
One of my favorite things is seeing the reaction from so many great designers in the space, people that I've followed for a long time. Though I think with all of these things, like the positive reactions come first, and then over time, the more negative reactions trickle in. Though it's actually less than I expected. Or those are probably the posts that someone makes and they don't tag us.
One of the very last things that we worked on finalizing with Koto was our font. What typeface will we use for headlines on our homepage, in our app, to represent Kit? For a while, we considered using like an off-the-shelf font, buying a license, to use it across all our brand platforms. But Koto came to us with a really interesting idea. And when they broke down the costs, it actually turned out to be similar to like go for a totally custom font as it was to work with one that already existed that other companies might be using as well. And so of course, we chose the custom option.
Fonts and typography communicate everything about a brand or a business's personality.
Just having the right typeface or the wrong typeface in there sends a signal to the viewer.
We got to work with Hot Type on creating a custom font, which we have called Kit Sans.
We came up with 3 different routes. We tried to keep it in line with what you were using so far, but started to infuse some brand DNA in it.
I do worry with routes 2 and 3 that it reduces the readability. The same challenge we were having with tone of voice and copy going too clever and had to pull back because clarity is the most important thing.
It was a pretty long process of finally giving feedback on certain parts of character. When there's a degree on a number, I was on my way back from our retreat, and at the airport, I was commenting on the size of the diameter of the degree symbol.
It was so much fun to get to customize every single aspect of this font. We got to have it in the exact weight we wanted. We wanted it this like perfect balance between not too bold, but not too light, but also has the softness in the curves and little bits between the letters. That's been a really valuable part of this custom font process, is we have something that perfectly matches our brand. People have been asking us, how much does it actually cost to work with an agency in this way? And because we're a very transparent company, I can share it with you. We spent around $360,000 in our partnership with Koto. That covered all the strategy work, the creation of the brand guidelines and the identity, the messaging guides, the illustrations, and honestly, money well spent.
Some of the biggest mistakes brands make when they rebrand are not fully trusting the process. We spend loads of time sort of fine-tuning the guidelines so that there's literally going to be no errors if you follow it to the book. But the main reason where sometimes brands slip up are the internal teams aren't fully following it. So I think it's about fully trusting the new identity, the new strategy, the new tone of voice, and everyone getting behind it and executing it. And then that will have a massive impact on consistency.
So the final artifact Koto handed over to us is our brand guidelines. It's this huge Figma file with the ways to apply our brand, the do's and don'ts, and now it's on us to put them in place. It's on us to not screw this up from here on out. We have a plan in place. There's a lot of work to do, but we're going to set about now applying it to our website, to our app, and to all the rest of our brand assets.
Once we got the brand guidelines from Koto, the product designers spent some time thinking about how to best apply it to our product. Kit is a lot more bold than ConvertKit was. So how can we bring some of that vibrant energy into the product while still maintaining like a functional product experience, because our creators are using this to run their business every day. So we needed to find the balance. I think the biggest challenge is how big of an app ConvertKit is. When you have a software product that's been built over 10 years, you end up with like a very large surface area. ConvertKit, even before this, has been through multiple brand iterations. Those changes add up and inconsistencies start to creep in. But we've used it as an opportunity to find those inconsistencies and address them.
This is almost like a spring cleaning for our code base. Now that we are having this rebrand, it's time to rewrite a lot of that code, and we can pull out the patterns that have worked for us the best, and we can replace the ones that haven't.
So it's given us a chance to look at that whole design system we've been using and be able to move faster in the future.
At this point, we are less than a week from launch, and we're going into the final round of QA. The engineers have applied our new colors and fonts, and we have changed some components. So I'll kind of give you a peek. I'll show you, let's create a new broadcast. So I'll pick a template, and you can see everything still kind of functions the same. You can find everything in the same place. But what we're looking for is anything that maybe just like looks weird or doesn't fit the new brand philosophy. So like right here, this tab is still red. So what I would do now is I would go into Linear, which is a tool we use to communicate with our engineers, and log it as a piece of feedback that that color needs to be changed. And you can see we have 96 tickets and they've already completed 63 of them. So we're on track to make this look great for launch.
A lot of those little decisions probably don't sound like much of a large feat, but together they're hundreds and hundreds of small engineering and design tweaks.
I'm seeing new builds for the team every day of like, okay, here's how the design looks, implement it. I think because Kit is such a light and bright and fresh look in the whole interface, I'm just excited to see that come to life as we weave in both the new aesthetic and then the new design principles all throughout everything we do.
October 1st is only the beginning. We're going to be making a lot more changes as we become Kit and we really start to apply the Kit product philosophy. So we're going to be focusing on things that we've heard from user research that we did going into this rebrand.
It's funny because when you talk to creators about what they want to see, a lot of times it's the non-flashy stuff. It's how can I move around the app more easily? How can I reduce the amount of time I'm spending trying to get the information out? So performance and quality and usability are all things that we're really leaning into right now.
Professional creators are looking for a more organized app experience. So that's something that we're looking at on our roadmap.
Giving our creators a ton of insights and reporting to understand how their creator business is doing. You're going to see a lot coming out in that direction in the next quarter or so. And then the Creator Network is an area where we really believe that it's huge potential for driving growth for our creators, but also connecting creators together. So we're going to spend a lot of time just making sure that our product brings creators together, lets creators meet other creators at similar stages. We're also really looking at extensibility. We know that Kit isn't the only tool our creators are using.
As ConvertKit, we spent all this time saying, what features can we build for you? What can we do to serve creators? And as Kit, we're saying, hey, how can we build the platform creators can use to help each other? What apps can be built? What designs can be shared? So really what's coming next is making it so that any developer or creator can go and build a custom dashboard app, a custom integration or something else that changes the Kit experience.
Getting to the final result of something as big as the homepage is quite a long process. It starts off with figuring out what is the outline, like what is the story we're going to tell. I then started to wireframe some of those options. So there is a new era coming for the site and for us. So this will be the very first impression that a lot of people will get. You can see it's creators at the center. It just shows the credibility of the kind of creators that we're working with. We were trying to balance the story we're telling and what our product does. And that meant needing to get it in front of creators so that they could see the messaging, they could see the copy, they could see the story we're telling. And if it didn't resonate with them, it would be a bit of a red flag. So I got on a few calls, and the good news was that they all had really positive reactions.
I think my first impression is strong for creators who mean business. I love the double entendre of that, and that you all out of the gate are saying we are for creators who view themselves as professionals and view what they're doing as a business, not as a hobby.
So now we're launching a new homepage as a complete redesign. And then every other page on the website is going to have what we're calling a reskin, really. I do that with Corey, the front-end developer on the Brand Studio team.
When I joined the team about 6 years ago now, there was a total other visual style, and I evolved into a different visual style. So we have a lot of implementations of that across the site, and we've never really had a solid design system or brand guidelines like really dialed in to work from. So I'm excited about having a singular, cohesive design system that stems out of just one visual and design philosophy. The challenging piece has been going through hundreds and hundreds of pages and blog posts and creator stories.
We've got to update absolutely everything from the fonts to the colors to images.
You start to realize all the places where the brand exists. It's just everywhere. It proliferates.
I made a whole list of all of the assets we had. So a giant spreadsheet, you tackle it just like you would tackle any other project, one bite at a time. So you would look at what are my needle movers, prioritizing them in terms of impact, importance. We were working with contractors, but we didn't have like a whole team of people to help us, which I'm sure is the case with a lot of other creators too.
We were a small team. We're not this large, huge corporation. And so we've been working alongside a dev agency that we hired out of Poland to identify all of the key pages and update components and colors.
And we still have to iterate beyond that. So this is going to be a process that continues for months after we launch. You're also going to notice the way we talk about our product and the mission might be used in slightly different words. So it's not going to be just visual changes, but it's also going to be messaging changes.
After we got the messaging guidelines from Kodo, I was able to take those guidelines, helping us describe what a creator coach is, and started to implement it into our marketing site, into our lifecycle emails. Anything that had content, it needs to start feeling like Kit and not ConvertKit anymore. It was a lot of back and forth, trying to really hit the right tone of voice for our homepage. That's the first place people come to. So we really wanted to make sure that that really packed the punch, showed our boldness, and really put the human aspect into what we do as Kit. I am very excited to show up in a more confident way in this tone of voice. We've been in the creator space for 10 years, so we know what works. I'm seeing it very clearly in lifecycle emails where we used to be like, we suggest a landing page is the best place to start. Now we're saying the best place to start is a landing page. This is what you should do. And I think that boldness and that confidence is really going to shine through.
Preparing the brand is one thing. Actually rolling it out and making people aware of it is an entirely different thing. And really, that's the work that matters. The work is not just the visuals, it's not just the name. The work is socializing the name, getting people used to it, showing up in the world in alignment with that brand. That work is really on you. People aren't going out of their way to stay on top of your business.
I think the awareness and the go-to-market for a rebrand is all about getting the creators to understand what is happening. It's all part of rebranding in public. We're doing this because creators actually don't know what a rebrand looks like. They don't know what goes into it. They don't know why we're doing it. And so this bit really tells them how it connects all the pieces together. That's kind of why it's the most critical part. The main target audience is definitely our existing customers. They're most invested in who ConvertKit is and who ConvertKit wants to be. So that's really where we want to make sure we're telling the right story about why they should care about what kind of product that Kit is going to be building.
When you're changing the name of something, you have to literally retrain people on what your business is called, what you do.
It was an entire 2-year process to transition from Fat Merchant to Stacks. And then even thereafter, it took a whole year to also shed that identity.
When I rebranded, I published a podcast episode about the rebrand. I published on social media about the rebrand. I sent out an email, which was tied to an essay about the rebrand. So everywhere that I show up and speak online, there's going to be content about this. So the first marathon is creating a new brand. The second marathon is being the new brand.
I'm going to be able to run through everyone on what our rebrand go-to-market is going to look like and actually kind of detail out what we are going to be doing on October 1st. Starting at about 2 a.m., 3 a.m., there will be an all-day Zoom for everyone to check into.
Well, today's the day that we officially become Kit. I honestly thought that at this point I'd be feeling much more nervous, much more stressed, kind of like how I felt when we were announcing the name change and my heart rate was spiking. But honestly, I feel very calm. Or maybe this is just the calm before the storm and things are going to go wrong later on. And so I should appreciate feeling calm right now.
So it's 3 a.m. on October 1st, and we are about to deploy the rebranded app to production. One of my jobs this morning is to flip a switch from the ConvertKit UI to the Kit UI. All right, it looks like all of the specs have passed, and this looks like it's deploying. I'm enabling both flippers, and it looks like we could start the redirections whenever you're ready.
Yep. I'm ready to deploy the new Kit rebrand. And you can see the deployment, and boom, this is going to production.
Just heads up to everybody, we're at 5 minutes and no showstoppers. So in just a couple minutes, I'm gonna go ahead and update the site with the announcement bar and then give the thumbs up. Hands are a little shaky, just small, just a little bit. Yeah, then we'll get going. Wow, that's, I'm having a moment.
We are switching over all of our socials, and let me show you what we're working with here. Moment of truth. We are gonna start converting all of our socials here. Nice.
All right, friends. Kit.com has been updated. The blog post is published. We are now allowed to introduce ourselves as Kit to the world.
It feels surreal, quite honestly, that it's happened. It's out there. We are now Kit. I now am the creative director for Kit. I think it's going to take a while to sink in that this huge project, well, okay, maybe it's not taking a while to sink in. Maybe it's sinking in right now. This has been such a big project, such a milestone in my career, in all of our careers, everyone who works at Kit. And it just means a lot to have worked on it together, to have got it out there successfully, and yeah, for the positive reaction that it's gotten.
We're really seeing October 1st not as the finish line of oh, we've completed this project, it's done. It's the starting line. It's when we're finally Kit publicly, we can lean in and start building equity for this new brand and then keep evolving it, applying it and improving it across all the various platforms.
When this idea first came out of rebranding in public, at first I thought it was crazy. And now from here, I just feel like there's no other way to do it. I couldn't imagine trying to do this as one big reveal.
Although the timeline has been challenging, had we not rebranded in public, this may have been a long drawn-out process where we try to perfect everything. And ultimately, it's allowed us to get from 0 to 1 a lot quicker.
This business started with a public challenge. In 2013, I decided that I was going to build an email marketing software company from scratch in public. And over 6 months, I wrote blog posts every week. And I think it's really special that that chapter of ConvertKit is coming to a close and this new chapter of Kit is opening in the same way. And I think the best part of it really is bringing people along for the journey. When we posted of hey, we're about to reveal the logo, people were like, hey, when's that next episode coming? They were eager to follow the rebrand. I think it's just important to document as you go, even if it's just for yourself. But in this case, it's been so special to have thousands of people following along with the journey and cheering for us every step of the way.
I love the new Kit rebrand. I love the meaning that the team has imbued in the logo for Kit and even some of the animations of the logo.
The Kit brand feels perfect for a software that's a complete kit for creators and business owners.
One of the things I love most about the new Kit identity and positioning is the language. The idea of being an email-first operating system really resonates with me.
I love seeing that the tools I use and love are pushing themselves forward because it gives me faith that they'll continue to make the product better.
As a copywriter and an email strategist, Git sums up the seamless and stress-free experience that it offers not only to me as a business, but also for my audience.
I know this is going to play through now into a better experience for me and my business as well.